Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how I made these UV magnets using sand that I got from Jamaica. Jamaica, man. So I got this mold from my neighbor, Lonnie. Thank you, Lonnie. And I'm going to use the turtle, and this is a um, a thin mold, I guess you would say. It's not very deep. And the only way you can use these molds with UV resin, and this is Pure Dot alcohol ink or alcohol coloring ink, whatever it is. So I put a little bit of the resin in the little cup there with like 3 drops of the green alcohol. And anyway, what I was saying is about the UV resin. If you don't use one of the see-through molds like the cup is there, then you have to do it in layers, or it's not going to cure, because the UV rays cannot penetrate the mold if it's not a see-through mold. So I am putting some more drops of the green in there. It wasn't quite dark enough for me. And I'm just using a popsicle stick to stir it with. And then there's some indentations in the shell of the turtle. So I'm just filling those up with my green UV resin. So these are just the, the designs that are on the back of the turtle shell. And the way these molds are, it's going to be I don't know quite how to say this, but the bottom of your mold is actually the top of your magnet. That's what I'm trying to say. So like I said, I'm just filling up these indentations with the green on his shell here. And then I'm going to take my toothpick, and I'm going to get off some of the extra green that got on the side of the mold. And I'm going to put this under my UV light twice at 120. So for 4 minutes. I mostly do everything for 4 minutes. And I go ahead and use my same cup that had the green in it, and I'm going to mix up some brown alcohol ink with my for my turtle. This is going to be for his head and his legs, and it is smoky quartz. And you do want to mix up your inks very well. If you don't mix them up well in UV resin, they could leave holes because of the alcohol, I guess. So I'm just going to fill up his head. And I'm going to put it back under the UV light for another 4 minutes. So my light is either 60 or 120 seconds. And so I have to do it twice at 120. Now I'm going to take the rest of my brown, and I'm going to put it in his legs and his tail. And that kind of went over there, and I decided, you know what, I should just do a little bit of the brown over top of the green too. So that's what I did. I just put a very thin layer. Just spread it out with my popsicle stick. And now what I'm going to do is can't talk. I'm going to take some of the sand here from Jamaica. Heck, I just picked it up off of the beach and put it in a water bottle and brought it back with me. I declared it when I went through customs, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, anything from the sea is fine. I'm like, really? So I just put my sand on top of there, and then I take my toothpick and I swirl it in the resin, because you do want it covered up with the resin. You want it mixed really well. And I'm just going to take my heat gun to it and pop any bubbles there might be. Because, you know, bubbles create holes. And then I'm just going to put it back under my UV light again for 4 minutes. And then I'm going to finish filling up my mold with just the clear UV resin. I'm going to use my heat gun again to pop any bubbles there may be. And then I'm going to put it back under my UV light for another 4 minutes. So I'm just going to pop my turtle out, but I want to be careful because using UV resin with these type of molds, it doesn't always get the top of your mold or your piece doesn't always cure. So it is liquid. It's not really liquidy, but it's not fully cured, I guess you would say. So I put it back under the light for another two minutes, I think, maybe 4 minutes. And now I'm just going to put the clear UV resin over the whole top of the piece. And I do end up getting a little, well, quite a bit too much on it. So yeah, I wasted some of my UV resin. And then once you do that and it drips off, it goes underneath your piece, and then you have to re-cure that. So just be careful and not put too much on it. And then I take my toothpick and I make sure the resin is all around the edges and all. If you don't do that, then you're going to leave ridges, and you don't want that. So I'm making sure the resin is all over the whole piece. Make sure it's on his tail and his legs and his flippers, you know, all that. But you can see here, I'm going to move him, and you see that pile of resin there. So I got too much on the top of it, and it dripped over. And then I got my husband to print me up some Jamaica words on some acetate. So I cut it down, and I'm going to use that. But first I'm going to pop the bubbles with the heat gun. And I'm going to put my word on there with the acetate, and then I'm just going to position it where I want it to be with my toothpick. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I have resin over top of my acetate word there. And I just use a regular printer. I don't have any special printer or anything like that. But you can see again where the resin dripped over the turtle. See that? What a waste. And then I put it under the UV light again for 4 minutes. So I pick him up, and you see how he was kind of stuck to the mat there. I need to cure the back side of it again. So another 4 minutes. And he's done. Yeah, look at that. They're Jamaica man. And now we're going to go on to the next one. So for this one, we're going to do the fish. And I'm going to use some mica powder in my UV resin. Now, this mica powder I got in a 4-pack from the Dollar Tree. So this is the blue. Very pretty. I'm just going to put a little bit in there because a little bit goes a long way. Plus, I only put a little bit of UV resin in my little cup there. And this fish has some markings on it. It's kind of like, I guess, the fish from Dory or whatever that was. You know, where you see the yellow fish with the blue lines on it. Well, so I'm putting the blue lines on it with the mica powder. And then I just did a tiny drop of resin, and I'm putting 1 drop of, I think it's obsidian alcohol ink, and it's just black because I want to do the dot in his eye. Just right there. It's so cute. So I'm just using my toothpick to do that. Turned out pretty well. And now I'm just going to put this under my light for 4 minutes. And I thought that had cured that black there, but evidently it didn't. And just got it on my glove. Anyway, I'm going to take the rest of this blue, or not the rest of it, but some more of the blue, and I'm going to put it on the fish face. And I got a little bit of that where it doesn't need to be, so I'm going to have to get that off. So I at first used the popsicle stick to try to get it off, and now I'm using the toothpick to get it off. Got a little bit on the side there, so I was getting that off too. And I'm going to put it back under my UV light for 4 minutes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same cup that I used for the turtle that had the quartz in it, the smoky quartz, and I am going to put in citrine. I think it's citrine. Anyway, it's yellow. So I'm actually going to put quite a bit in here. I know there's some kind of ratio or whatever you're not supposed to go over. I think if you do go over it, it won't cure. It'll probably leave holes or whatever. But this wasn't quite as dark as I wanted it to be, and I was probably taking a chance by adding more, but I did. Look at that, I'll put quite a bit in it. But I have to say, it still worked. Yay! Trial and error, that's all it is. And I'm going to use my heat gun to pop any bubbles. I'm just going to pour the yellow into the fish. Now I'm not going to fill the mold up all the way, because like I said again, UV resin doesn't cure very well in these types of molds. If they're not see-through, they're just not going to cure very well. So you have to do it in sections. And now what I'm going to do is add some of that Jamaican sand from the beach on there, like we did with the sea turtle. And then I'm just going to mix it with my toothpick. I want to make sure that all my sand is in the resin. And now I'm going to cure it for 4 minutes. And now I can add the rest of my resin to my fish there. Finish filling up the mold. Excuse me. Get every little drop you can out of there. So there's still a little bit more room in the mold, so I want to finish filling it up just with the clear resin. And then I'm going to cure it for 4 minutes. And we can pop him out of there. There he is. And I have to say, I forgot to film where I added the word Jamaica and did the front part of the fish with the resin, and I'm sorry about that, but you'll see it in the next one. So I cured it again for another 4 minutes on the back side. and 4 minutes on the front side once I added the word Jamaica. So there's our fishy. Now the next one I want to do is the seahorse. So I'm going to use up the rest of the mica powder that's in this resin here that we had for the fish. I don't want to waste any of it, so I'm going to use it on, I guess it's the fin of the seahorse. And it was just enough for that. And I'm going to go ahead and cure that for 4 minutes. And now I'm going to mix up what I need for the actual seahorse. So I'm just going to get out my UV resin, pour it in my little bowl there. And I'm going to use, I believe it is tangerine alcohol ink. I think that's what it's called. I'm not totally sure. But it's the orange one. Kind of orangey. And again, like I said, you want to mix that really good so you don't have any streaks or anything like that, because it could leave holes because it doesn't have resin in it. And I'm just going to use my heat gun to pop any bubbles. And then I'm going to pour a little bit in my my seahorse. I did not fill it up all the way, and now I'm going to put some sand in it. Some Jamaican sand. Just going to take my toothpick and stir it up, make sure all the sand is covered with resin. And I'm going to pop that under my UV light for 4 minutes. Now I'm going to put the rest of my orange colored resin in my seahorse. Going to use the rest of that up. And then I'm going to get another drop out. Must have been another drop left in there. Don't want to waste any of it. Then I'm going to take my clear UV resin and finish filling up the mold. You don't want to overfill your molds, or you'll have a lot of cleanup you'll have to do. And then I am going to use my heat gun to pop any bubbles there might be. And then put it under my UV light for 4 minutes. Once that's done, I'm going to pop my seahorse out. There he is. And I'm just going to put a little bit of UV resin on him so I can put my word Jamaica on. And I had to work with this quite a bit just to get it in the right place to where it wasn't hanging over any of the edges of the seahorse. But I finally got it. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the UV resin, make sure it's over top of my word and anywhere else that might need to be on my seahorse. And when you put sand and stuff like that in your UV resin in your molds, it will sink. So it can leave holes on the top of your piece there, but you can add some more UV resin to the top of it to cover that up. So as you can see, I'm still moving the word around, trying to get it in the right position to where it's not hanging over any of the edges. And then once I get it done, well, I need to add a little bit more resin to it because I don't want any edges sticking up either. And now once it's done, I'll put it back under my UV light for 4 minutes. And he is a little wet on the back, so I'm going to have to turn him over and put him under the UV light again for 4 minutes. And now he should be completely dry. And there was some overage on there, so I was just picking that off. And I'm going to take a black Sharpie. I know I'm kind of out of the frame there, but I gave him an eye with a black Sharpie. And I should have done that before I put the last of the UV resin on him, but I forgot. And now I'm just taking a fingernail file and going over the edges of the turtle, just making sure there's no sharp edges or anything like that. And then I basically, once I had got it filed down, I just wiped it on my pants. I didn't have to wash it or anything like that, but you could. But you do want to go around each piece and file it down so there's no sharp edges or anything like that. And then we'll do the same thing to the seahorse. It was a little more difficult to do just because of the angles and all that. Trying to get in there where his tail is curled up, that's a little difficult. Okay, and now I want to add magnets to them. So I'm just using this super glue from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using magnets that I got off of Amazon. They're little magnets that I had bought for some paper crafting that I was doing. So I'm just using 2 of those on each of these. And using the super glue to glue them on. You can use E6000 if you want. I think these turned out pretty good. You'll have to let me know what you think. Uh-oh, well, somehow the magnet from the sea turtle came off in my hand. I don't know how that happened. But there's the seahorse. Isn't he cute? Has the word Jamaica on it. They all do. But his little blue fins. Guess they're called fins. And his black eye. Cute. And then the sea turtle. Very cute. And then our fishy. I like him the best. Jamaica on. So you'll have to let me know which one is your favorite. The fish, the turtle, or the seahorse. Like I said, the fish is my favorite. Again, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so, but you don't have to. I love all my subscribers, and I'll see you later.